Good morning, my dear students. So today we are going to start with one new chapter from Unit 3, Human Anatomy and Physiology. The name of the chapter is Circulatory System, chapter number 8 from your book. All organisms, including humans, have some kinds of fluid circulating in their body. These fluids help in transportation of substances to and from the various parts of the body. The circulating fluids and the organs involved in transportation of substances forms circulatory system of organism. So, in this chapter, we are going to study about circulating fluids in human, their composition and functions. So, starting with the chapter, the first topic, need for transport inside the body. Now, as you all know, every organ of our body requires circulating body fluids. For example, the first one, the digestive system. As you have studied in class 9th that process of digestion takes place in alimentary canal and digested food in the form of nutrients are to be carried from small intestine to all cells of the body. And for this, circulating fluids are required, that is, blood is required. Now, second is the respiratory system. For respiration, oxygen is required. This oxygen is picked up from air inhaled in the lungs and then transported to all parts of the body, that is, all cells of the body, and from there, carbon dioxide is collected and carried to the lungs to exhale it out. Again, for transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide, that is for the process of respiration, circulating fluid is required. Now the next is all the extra water, excess salts, nitrogenous waste such as urea have to be removed from different parts of the body. As different metabolic processes takes place in our body, it produces various kind of waste. These waste are first transported to excretory system from where they are thrown out. So to carry waste to excretory system, circulating fluid is required. Next, hormones, chemical messengers. These hormones are secreted by the glands, endocrine glands present in our body. And these hormones, they control the metabolic activities of our body. These hormones are to be carried from glands to target organs again by a fluid, that is circulating fluid. Like this, there are many such processes which occur in our body and for which the substances which are required, they need transport. So all the activities or the processes which need substances, those substances are transported by two circulating fluids in our body. The first is blood and the second is lymph. Now we will study about these two circulating fluids in detail. Next topic, fluids in our body. There are three principal fluids in our body. The first one is blood. It is present in the heart and in the blood vessels. Blood vessels means arteries, veins and capillaries. And together they form circulatory system. Second fluid, that is tissue fluid. It is present in spaces between cells in the organs. The spaces present in between the cells, those spaces are filled by one fluid that is called tissue fluid. Now the next is lymph. It is contained within lymph vessels and lymphatic organs. Like blood vessels, there are another type of vessels present in our body known as lymph vessels. So lymph is present in lymph vessels and lymphatic organs like spleen and tonsil. We will study lymph in detail at the last of this chapter only. Now all these three principal fluids are present in our body and they help in transportation of substances required from organ to the place where they are required, and from the waste they transport it to the excretory organs. Now look at this diagram. This diagram shows the relationship between blood, tissue fluid and lymph as they circulate in their respective vessels or the spaces between the cells in different organs. The main circulating fluid in human is blood, and it is present in heart from where it is carried by blood vessels. Blood vessels means arteries, veins and capillaries to all parts or organs of the body. Now, when blood reaches the organs, arteries carries blood to the organs. Inside the organ, the blood flows in the capillaries. Now, as the blood flows in the capillaries of the tissue, the plasma part of the blood, that is liquid part of the blood, along with WBC, white blood cells, leak out through their walls, and this part of the blood which leaks out through the walls of the capillaries fills spaces in between the cells. And that part of the blood which leaks out from the walls of the capillary to fill the spaces present in between the cell is called as tissue fluid. Now we call tissue fluid as intercellular fluid also. Intercellular fluid as it is present in spaces between the cells. It is present in between the spaces of the cells. We call it as extracellular fluid also as it is present outside the cells. All the cells, they are embedded inside this fluid. So that's why we call it as extracellular fluid also. Now from this tissue fluid, cell absorb oxygen and another required substances and in turn give out carbon dioxide and another waste back into it. Now after the exchange of substances, some of the tissue fluid, now here the exchange of substances takes place, that is in tissue fluid. After the exchange of the substances, some part of the tissue fluid again reabsorb back in by the blood vessels. But most of it, only some part of it is again reabsorbed back by the blood vessels, but most of it enters another set of vessels present in our body which we call as lymph vessels. The yellow color vessels, these are lymph vessels. So most part of the tissue fluid enter this set of vessels known as lymphatic vessels. And that fluid which enter lymph vessels, we call it as lymph. But a lymph flows in lymph vessels. These lymph vessels are present in the muscles. And when muscles contract, they press lymph vessels and allow flow of lymph against gravity. And in this way, it is carried near the heart where again it is poured into the vena cava to become a part of the blood. So in this way, blood, tissue fluid and lymph, they are related to each other. Hope everything is clear to you. Now next, again look at this diagram. Beta, here blood in our body is circulate in closed manner, means it is flowing through blood vessel all the time. So this type of circulation in which blood is flowing through blood vessel, that type of circulation is called as, or that type of system is called as closed blood circulatory system. This type of system is called as closed blood circulatory system. There is another blood circulatory system also, like in some animals like insects, blood mostly flows through open spaces in the body. And that system in which blood is not flowing through blood vessel but through open spaces, that system is called as open blood circulatory system. In closed blood circulatory system, blood vessels are present, like in humans. In open blood circulatory system, blood vessels are not there. Blood is flowing through the open spaces which are present in between the cells. So there are two types of circulatory system, First, closed blood circulatory system through blood vessel, and another open blood circulatory system, that is through open spaces like in insects. Now next topic is the color differentiation. But in diagram related to circulation, arteries are always shown in red and veins in blue in color. It doesn't mean that blood flowing through vein is blue in color. Blood is always red in color. Arteries carries oxygenated blood and it is bright red in color, and veins, they carry deoxygenated blood, so dark red in color. Now blue color in diagrams, blue color of vein in diagram is just to differentiate arteries from the vein. Hope this is clear to you, that the blue color of the vein is to differentiate veins from the arteries, but the blood is always red in color. In arteries, it is bright red in color as it is oxygenated, and in vein, it is deoxygenated, so it is dark red in color. But if we look at the veins of our arms and legs, they appear blue. Now why it is so? This is because the color we see is the result of the wavelength of light which is reflected back to our eyes. Veins appear blue because blue light is reflected back to our eyes from these blood vessels, which are superficial and have thin muscular wall. Veins are superficial and they have thin muscular wall, so they reflect back blue color of light, that is blue wavelength of light, so that's why they appear blue in color. Now arteries and veins both carry blood. In arteries bright red and in veins dark red. Now what about the color of the blood in capillaries? Beta, if capillaries are close to the arteries, then the color of blood in capillary is bright red, and if capillaries are close to the veins, then the color of blood is dark red. Hope this is clear to you. Now the next is non-circulating fluids. But a non-circulating fluids means the fluids which are stationary, which are not moving, like synovial fluid present in our synovial joint, and vitreous humor that is present in the eye, aqueous humor also, they are non-circulating fluid. Important question beta. Circulating fluid, blood and lymph. Non-circulating fluid, which are stationary like synovial fluid and vitreous humor in the eye. They do not circulate. Now next we will start with properties of blood, that is the blood.